Hey friends, welcome to the goal setting extravaganza. I love setting goals and making plans and just kind of like mapping things out because I don't know about you, but I've got a lot going on, and so having just like a clear direction to go makes me feel so much better because I just know what I need to do each day to actually like make progress towards what I actually want. So today we're gonna figure out kind of like what we actually want and how to break that down quite a bit. I love this kind of stuff. I love sharing this kind of stuff, and y'all said you wanted to see it. So I would have preferred it go out before July 1st because July 1st is the midway point of the year and the beginning of the third quarter. And so for me, that's always a really big goal setting time. But I'm gonna be honest, I didn't have my ish together before July 1st. So it's July 5th. I'm actually just home from Disney World. So if you're wondering about the shirt, my husband and I were matching shirts to Toy Story. It was the bomb. It was really great. We got home yesterday, and so I spent this morning at the pool. And well, actually, first of all, I started with just like figuring out what I was going to do the next couple of days. And in doing that, I started thinking about, you know, what we're going to do for this year and all that kind of stuff. And then I was like, oh, they wanted a video, so I stopped. Went to the pool, got things at least kind of sort of a little bit more organized than it was a few hours ago, and so now we're here. So for this video, you don't need any fancy supplies. I am using 3 notebooks. You don't have to, you can just use one. So I use like a journal that I write in because for me it's just easier to do like a really long form of like what I want, and like I just process things better in like really long form stuff. So we're gonna use just like a notebook for that. So I already kind of started that this morning. I use a bullet journal for my yearly and monthly planning. I do that because I use a lot of pages in my planner, which is just a notebook, and every day I use an entire page, and because of that I end up going through them really quickly, and I like my bullet journal to last the whole year. So that's why I do that, if anyone was curious or wondering. And then I have a notebook. This one is an Erin Condren, but anything will work. It's got this cute banana leaf print for summer. And so we're just gonna go through and kind of get things sorted. I do have like an actual how I like to plan each week. This week, because I got home on Tuesday, so I only planned Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, I just did like a master list of like what I need to do this week. And then next week is like a weird week because I'm going out of town too. And so I have like a master list and just these 3 days. So that's not what they normally look like. Normally it looks like that. And so we're just making do this time. But I'm using this notebook just to write down some plans and thoughts and ideas. So basically for me, I'm like, here's my messy notebook where I can, it's like, here's where I can think, here's where I can like kind of strategize. And then my bullet journal has all the stuff from like beginning of the year, and plus additional things like once I have this stuff set, then I will put this stuff into my bullet journal, but I'll wait until I have an actual plan and then put it in my bullet journal because I like my bullet journal to look nice. And so because of that, I like to wait until we have an actual plan. Oh, also snacks are good. So I have some iced coffee and some popcorn because it sounded really yummy. It's not for you. That's what my dogs. We're also chilling in my living room, so there's that. Yeah. So now, when you are doing goal setting mid-year, assuming you did like beginning of the year goal setting as well, it's gonna look really different than beginning of the year goal setting because hypothetically you probably already have things that you're working towards instead of like beginning of the year. I don't know about you, but for me, January 1st, I like to pretty much finish up all my projects and start fresh in the new year. So when we get to July, I'm already working on things. So for a mid-year, or if you're doing this at the beginning of a quarter or the beginning of a month, or just any time you feel like you need to, I like to look through my goals list and see kind of like how I'm faring on said goals. So some of them I have already finished. So like one of my goals this year was to finish my centers course for music teachers, and that is finished. Check. I also I wanted to do my dive certification refresher course because I am scuba certified, but we haven't been so long that I wanted to like refresh that to kind of like start that up. So that's done, check. And then one of my biggest new goals for this year was to get a new job, and I did get that. And so I start this month on the 28th. We go back on the teachers go back on a Friday. So like we come on Friday and then it's the weekend and then we come back the next week. I thought that was really odd. But that is another thing. So some things on your yearly goals you might be already done with. And so those are things that I don't really need to take into like the second half of the year. They still exist obviously, but they're done. So I don't need to worry about them. Then I have other goals like list 120 products on my new marketplaces. So if you're new around here, hi, I'm Becca. I sell elementary music lessons on a site called Teachers Pay Teachers. This year, one of my big things was that I started, I joined a couple of other sites and started posting my same products on other sites that are similar. So kind of like I actually am using Etsy, and then a couple other ones like Made by Teachers and TES. So that was one of my goals, was put 120 products onto the new markets. I'm not sure where I stand on that, but I know I'm not finished with it yet, and I need to kick my butt in gear because I have not been doing that. Reading 36 books, I am on track for that one. I'm doing pretty well. But then other ones like my income goal for this year, we are not on track for. I think I totally could have done this had it been a regular year, but with all the things outside of my control this year, gosh, like my sales have just not been as good as I would like them to. Now I am looking actually, because I added up all the money I made in the first quarter from all of the sites and all the everything that I do, and it looks pretty good. So I might need to do that for the second quarter as well to see if I'm on track for the income goal, because I've had some other things I've been pushing kind of because my TPT store hasn't done as well as I want it to. It's been fine. I have made a little bit of growth every month from the year before. So like I made more this February than I did last February, but each time it's been like by $100. Which when you're making 4 and 5 figures is not that exciting. So it really fell short of my expectations, and I kind of used some other things to counteract that. So we'll have to see. I might still be on track for the income goal, even though I'm not on track for the TPT goal. We'll have to see. So my point in telling you all of that is the first step in a mid-year refresh is go to your goals and see what you finished, see what you're on track for and what you're not on track for, and what you might need to adjust. Because looking at this, I'm like, okay, my TPT goal is way higher than I currently think that I can do. So do I kick my butt in gear or work really ridiculously hard and try to hit it? Or do I lower my expectations because all of these things happen outside of my control? And so now, like sitting where I am now, I feel very different than I did at the beginning of the year, because at the beginning of the year I expected it to be like a normal year, and it was not. So there's not a right or wrong answer about those kind of things, but you just have to decide on your own. Is this goal something that I still care about? Is it something that I'm on track for? Do I need to kick my butt in gear? Do I need to lower my expectations, or do I need to get rid of it at all? Okay, so those are kind of your options as far as each of your goals from the beginning of the year. Now, once you've kind of gotten that set, then you want to figure out like, okay, what are you actually wanting and caring about for the rest of this year? So for example, the first half of the year was really consumed for me by looking for a new job and packing up my classroom and all that kind of stuff. And so the second half of the year, it's not really focused on that, but I am focused on starting a new job, and I have to like set up my classroom, I have to meet all my kids, and I have to figure out, you know, where I fit in the school, and actually figure out like what I'm gonna do and all of that. So that I know is gonna take up a lot of my mental energy. And because of that, that means that other things might not be as important. But that's something I didn't have on here at the beginning of the year. Another thing I didn't have on here at the beginning of the year is I've been doing home renovations, and that was something that I didn't know that I would be interested in back in January, because I really started it in June. And have totally redone 2 rooms in my house, and I have quite a few other projects I would like to get done. So that is a goal that I need to add to my list of goals for the year. Does that kind of make sense? So that's our first step. It's just like look through, figure it out. It's gonna be a really long video. I'd say I apologize, but I actually really enjoy a really long video about goals. Hopefully you do too. I would love to, I have the goal setting course, which comes open in December, but I would love to have like a goal setting like mastermind or class, or even like a webinar. I don't know, some kind of something where like we could go deep into this. And it's one thing I've always wanted to do, and it just hasn't happened yet. It's not happening this year either. But think about it. Think about anything you'd be interested in, or write a book about it. Things to think about. There are projects that are right now projects, and there are projects that are someday projects. And those are my someday projects. But we need to figure out what are my right now projects. So I'm gonna pause. I'm gonna figure that out by long form writing in my journal, and you go look and decide your goals from the beginning of the year. What were you interested in? What do you still care about? What do you not care about? What needs to change? And then what do you want to focus in the next few months? All right, so step 1 done. I've got a dog behind me because the thunder started rolling in. But step 1 is done. I really like to long form think through, like, what am I after? What am I going for? What are my like long-term goals? And then how can I take steps to achieve that now? You're probably gonna have some goals that are money related. And so how I like to think through those is starting with how much money I would like to be bringing in for me to take home. So when you have business money, you don't get to keep it all, because you have to pay taxes and you have to pay for things like the TPT membership and equipment. Like if your laptop dies, you need to buy a new one, and things like that. So I don't pay myself, you know, 100% of what comes into the business. Nobody does. If you are doing that, please stop it now, because you need expenses and you also need taxes. Taxes are the biggest thing. Taxes. And so what I like to start with is how much money do I want to bring in? Use that to figure out, okay, if I pay myself, I do a percentage. So if I pay myself this percentage of what the business brings in, then how much does the business need to make for me to get that cut of money? Okay, and then I back it up more to, and when I think about money, I don't think like a random, I'm not like, oh, I want to make this random dollar amount. I actually sit down and think like, okay, I know I need this much to cover my bills. I know that I need this much to, you know, go here. I know that we really like restaurants, so we need some money for DoorDash, because that is the thing that happens here. I know I've been doing renovations, so I was like, I need to start like adding money specifically for like home projects, so that that's not coming out of like other things. And so just thinking through like what like fundamentally you need / want, because wanting is fine too. If you're like me and it's really hard for you to be like, it's okay to enjoy things in life, this is your permission. It's okay to enjoy things in life. You can buy things just because you want to. Again, I just got home from Disney World because I wanted to go to Disney World. So I have a hard time with that, so I know other people must as well. But how much money do you want to set aside for vacations? Like just all of those kind of things. Like in a perfect world, what would help? And then figure out how much money the business needs to make for that to happen. Hello. Which is where I really appreciate all of the math skills that I got in school. And then I think through, okay, if this is how much money I need to make, what are steps that I can take that will take me from where I am to where I would like to be? And how can I make that happen? Okay, and so that's kind of where I am now. So I just made like general ideas of like, these are things I could do that would help me make more money in the business. And so now I'm going to more specific tactics and thinking through, okay, what are like the specific things that I need to do? And for this, what I like to do, can I have my hand back because I'm left-handed? Do I need that? Did you have a fun time at Disney World? You did? Are you a Disney dog? Yeah, Milo was there too. Yeah. At Disney World, there's 4, I think, resorts that let you bring dogs. The cabins at Fort Wilderness are the easiest ones to have dogs in. So we had a Disney World party. Okay, so what I like to do for this is to take different colors and take plenty of space, and I just go through and do like a bubble map like you teach your kids when they're like coming up with story ideas. And so I just write BMR is Becca's music room, that goes there. I do need to do some work on Becca's Bible class, which is my like where I sell Bible things, and I have like barely touched it at all year, but it does bring in some passive income. So if I can level that up and get that to be higher, that would be excellent. And then I'm gonna do pink for you. Okay. Okay, so I have 3 bubbles currently. I mentioned this recently that I am making sure my focus is more on my Becca's music room TBT stuff, because that's where I make the most money. So even though like I love y'all, I don't make a lot of money over here. On this channel, I make nothing. Those ads that they put in front of me, I'm not monetized yet. Those are purely YouTube taking all of the money, which gets under my skin so badly, because if I'm not getting a cut of it, there should not be ads on my videos. YouTube, we need to have a talk about that, because that is not cool. Not at all. I was so mad when I realized that there were ads in my videos, and I can't get any of that because I'm not at 1,000 subscribers yet. So tell all your people that you know, because I make nothing over here unless you click an affiliate link to buy something. So that's all that I make. And then I have the courses for that is more associated with the other channel, where I teach you how to sell on TPT, and those do bring in some money, but not like a ton. And so I definitely like Becca's music group is where I'm making the most money. So I am trying to make sure I'm focusing my resources on that, since I don't have a lot of time to work on things. Because in the past I've been very focused on like this side of the business, like the helping teacher sellers, which is great. However, monetarily, you know, I need to put the effort where more money's coming, and that's just how it is. So sorry. I would love to do more with y'all in the future, but like right now I just can't handle that. So my point is, I have all those things over here. That's why this gets a whole page to itself. And I'm just gonna start writing out all the ideas. They don't have to be good. Just write down all the ideas. What are ideas of things that could help take you to the next level? What are things that you can do that will make you money? It doesn't have to be good. You're not judging them right now, right this second. All you're doing is literally, here's an idea, here's an idea, here's an idea. I could make this, I could do that, I could have this video, I could start this thing, I don't care. Just write all of the things down. And if you don't have you know, multiple businesses because you're not a crazy person like I am, then yours might be, okay, here's TBT and here's like my email list and here's my YouTube channel, or whatever you have. Just if you have different aspects of your business, just separate out the different aspects, and that'll just help you to get your life a little bit more in order. And I'm just gonna sit down and write every idea that comes to my head of things I could potentially possibly do between now and December that could potentially possibly help make more money, because that's what we're focusing on now. I do have non-monetary goals that will come in a second, but for right now I'm thinking business. What can I do in the business? How can we create that? Can you hear the thunder? It is crazy outside. The dogs are freaking out. And they're usually okay during thunderstorms, but like the thunder is really loud and it is pouring today. So anyway, I just went through and came up with all sorts of ideas for all the different aspects of my business. Now, the important thing to note is that I'm not doing them all. Hi. Okay, you're sitting here? Okay. The important thing to note is that I am not planning to do them all because I don't have time to do them all, especially I actually came up with a lot of really fun things for y'all, but I'm not gonna have time for all of them. So I'm thinking about them. Specifically, like a lot of them are like long-term things. Like I have a lot of book ideas and course ideas and stuff like that. Or like I would love to do a membership, like a monthly situation. We don't have time for that right now. But things I could do that you can help me with if you have suggestions. I'm thinking possibly to do a like set of guides. So a guide for getting started on YouTube, a guide for marketing your products, a guide for like listing your products, guide for making your products, like those kind of things. So like it would be like a printable PDF or potentially like a slideshow that has videos with it. So if you have suggestions, thoughts, or like one of those that you're like, yes, definitely do that one, let me know those in the comments and that'll be super helpful. We could also do non-TPT things if you want. You know, a guide to email lists would actually be a really good idea because I get so many questions about email lists. Maybe that'll be a course. We'll see. Those things are not, I might do guides this year, but most of that giant thing is not happening this year. But it's good to get them out because now I have ideas, and so I have kind of like places I can go, things I can tap into, things maybe I can look at next year. And when I do this next year, starting to think about, you know, what I'm gonna do next year, I'll look at these things and think like, okay, is there anything in here that I think that we could do? Is there anything in here that I would like to get started on? And so that'll help. What I am looking at is all the things that I did for Becky's Music Room. Now again, there's a lot on here and I'm not gonna do them all this year, but I am gonna do some of them. I also have a separate page where I wrote down like products to make. And so what I am gonna do is go through, now that I have all of these ideas written down, and decide, okay, what are things that actually would be the most helpful? We call those the needle movers, like the needle on the speedometer in your car. What's gonna move the needle the best? What is going to create the best outcome? What's gonna really help move my business forward? What's the most important? And again, remembering I need to spend most of my time on Becky's Music Room. And also even in that, thinking like, okay, how can I leverage the products I already have, and how can I create things that are gonna make me more money? Like my centers course made me a lot more money than a $3 resource is gonna be. right? And so thinking about those things as well, like how can I, you know, be smart about what I'm spending my time on and make sure that I'm spending my time on things that is going to really have that return. That can be hard to figure out, especially if you're new, but it comes kind of with practice, and just as things go, you'll realize like, okay, these are things that make me more money and these are things that are more helpful. And some of the things that are on here that I might do are things that are like, let's try this and see how it goes. And I don't know if it's gonna work out, but if I try it and see how it goes, it might work out. So I have a few things on here. Like I started using my Cricut, I made this shirt. And so I figured out how to make SVG files. And so I was like, well, we could make like music teacher SVG files, which are like the cut files for Cricut. So that I could sell like the file, and then you could use that and go and like make a t-shirt or make a mug or cut it out, make a poster or whatever. And then I was like, well, we could also do that for teacher sellers. So we could do like, you can, you know, add them to your notebooks, add them to, you know, whatever. I don't want to sell physical things, at least not yet. Let me rephrase that. I don't want to sell physical things that I have to make. Potentially maybe we could do physical things that are like I design them and they like are printed and sent, but I don't have to physically like myself send them. And those are things, again, thinking in the back of my brain, but just those kind of things, like I don't know how that would go. It might not go at all, you might not like them at all, and it might be a total flop and a waste of time. I would still have some fun, so I wouldn't mind it, but it's okay. And so those are things that I am thinking about, is the short answer. So now that you have all of your ideas, you want to go through and actually decide like what are good ideas and what are good ideas right now and what are like top priority. So this is where markers come in handy. I love these mild liners. I just have a pack from Amazon. I just like them. I like the colors they come in. They don't bleed through the paper, and they do have the two sides, so there's like the short side and the flat side. I'll link them down below in case you're looking for some good highlighters. These are like all I use for planning, but I'm gonna go through and just like highlight things, and I might highlight them in coordinations of like Becca's music room is blue, so I might do like, you know, these are the really good ideas that we should definitely do, and these are the maybes or something like that. So I'll kind of like look through that, and then I'll tell you what the next step is. All right, friends, we've arrived at the most important part of your goal setting situation. So I always get questions about like how you break down big goals. This is exactly how you do it. You decide, all right, these are my goals. Here are all my different strategies that could potentially help my goals. Pick the ones that you think are gonna be the most helpful. Since mine was kind of messy, I did like an action plan that has like the specific things that I do wanna make sure I do. And now we want to do what's most important, which is mapping it out. So I just did 2 pages. One says quarter 3, one says quarter 4. Under quarter 3, I have 3 sections in each, and that's the months in the quarter. So I'm gonna label one July, August, September, and then October, November, December. And in there, take all those things that I said, this would be helpful, this would be helpful, this would be helpful, and give them a place and give them a home. Also give myself this is how much money I need to make in each month to hit my goal, money-wise, and just kind of think through all of that kind of stuff. That way, when I get to that month, I know exactly what I'm gonna do. And that's really the key to taking those big goals, is to figure out what kind of like little bites you need to take out of them each month to go to the really big goals, because it's just really hard to think about like I need to do this like really big huge crazy thing, and so it's easier to be like, oh, I need to do, you know, I need to make this product, I need to update these things, I need to, you know, all that kind of stuff. I also have a page that I'm gonna write some habits that I want to do. Some habits are including things like posting on Instagram a certain number of times, but really it's for a lot of my like personal habits. So like I want to play piano and get in that habit. 10,000 steps has been a goal this year. I have been kind of wishy-washy. I was doing really well, and then I wasn't doing very well, and then I was doing better, and so it just kind of has been back and forth and back and forth. I've recently upped my water intake, so like things like that that I can incorporate, and so I just want to have a place to write those down. And then I wrote goals 2023 B, because I already have plan A, which was the beginning of this year. Here is plan B, which is the things that I want to accomplish like between now and the end of the year. So I'm gonna list those out, and that's really all that I've got for you today. That is, you know, how I do mine and how you should do, I mean, how you can do yours. I guess you don't have to do them like that, but it's just a really good way to kind of map it out and figure that out. So that's what I got. I really like this because it just reminds me like I have options, and there's a lot of different ways to get to the endpoints that you want, and that's helpful. And then also just being like, oh yeah, this is what I'm after. And really thinking today, like actually I told you I went to the pool this morning. I love swimming. Not so much walking, because I usually walk with the dogs and they distract me, but swimming, riding my bike is a good one. Those kind of things where I can like do something physically and my mind just like goes bonkers bananas. I swam for an hour today, just back and forth and back and forth, literally for a full hour. And I'm probably gonna feel that tomorrow, but it wasn't even on purpose. It was just because my brain was just like, oh, here's the thing I can do. Here's the thing I can do. What would my life look like if I did that? How should I, you know, like how am I gonna incorporate all these things into my week? Because that's a whole other thing, is that with this upcoming school year, I wanna kind of shift my week around and see if I can change up like my days and how I like kind of approach my days. So I'm gonna see how that goes. It's just gonna be a whole thing. So I'm not getting into that quite yet, but right this second, what I am gonna do, maybe we can make a video about all of that, but right this second I am gonna go through it and figure out like what I want for each month. And then I have a plan for right now in July, but as well as when I get to, you know, October, I already know what I need to do. And the great thing about this is, especially if you have like seasonal products that you want to do, you can plan those out so that you can actually make them happen. You can also make sure you don't have too many things on each month, because that's a big problem that I have, is I try to do all the things and then I just can't get them done, and then I'm shocked that I can't get them done. And it's like, Becca, of course you couldn't, because what were you gonna do? And then also incorporating like some of my other goals and stuff like that. So all of that to say, you know, when are we redoing the bathroom? When are we gonna make Nyla's room? I've decided, I don't know when this is gonna happen, probably not till next year, but we have this little like dog nook, and I painted it gray on the inside, if you can tell. It looks black, it's not black, it's the same color as the dining room, but I want to make it house shaped. I want to make it like a roof, and then like come down here, and then give her like a little sconce that looks like an outside lamp and like a little plaque, like a number, to make it look like a house. That's not super important, but it would make me very happy. But I'm probably gonna do that at the same time that I have plans for the TV wall. Anyway, I'm gonna write those things down as well, so that I can think through things. The other good thing about this is that you can, usually what I like to do is I'll go ahead and write down things that I know are gonna happen. So like I know that September, my choir sings for the Jewish High Holy Days, and those I believe are in September this year. We don't sing for all of them. That's Hispanic Heritage Month, no. Okay, the 25th of September. So October really is gonna be it. So like last week of September into October is gonna be really busy, because I'm gonna be singing a lot and rehearsing a lot. And so like last year I like didn't get anything done. And so now that I know that, I can like plan for that. Or if you know like, oh, I'm going on vacation at this point, then you can kind of plan for that as well. Or like I know December is crazy town, so I try not to put anything major in there, and you know, just like things like that, just thinking through like, okay, how can we be realistic in our choices as we're getting really excited about all of the fun things. So that
is that. I hope that clears up a little bit of like how to figure out your goal setting and planning and all that kind of stuff mid-year or whenever you want. I mean, it doesn't have to be mid-year. It could be, I mean, literally just, I just need some goals and I'm gonna do them from a month from today or 2 months from today or whatever. And this is the strategy that I kind of always go through to make that happen. So that's all I've got. I would love if you want to share some of your goals down below. Let me know, and I'll see you next time. Bye.